start right now. So I hope we've not forgotten what we did the last time, right? So I got a request. I got a request from one of you, right, who was saying that we didn't quite get the socialism. I think someone watched socialism and then they didn't quite also get the capitalism. So what I'm going to do is I want to take the economic system one by one. So I'm going to take them one by one, and then today we'll try and do the capitalist economic system. So for that reason, I want us to see what capitalist economic system is, and then we want to also try and see um, the what pure capitalism is, etc., etc., whatever is pertaining to pure capitalist economic system. I'm going to try to work on it today. So hopefully, I'm hoping that today's class you'll be able to cover up everything on capitalist economic system. So next time we meet, I can address the socialist economic systems because there's no way you can fully grasp um, the social economic system if you have not understood the capital economic system. For a quick recap, right? I remember we did the economic system. We started with what we said economic system is, and then I mentioned that economic system is a setup of mechanism. So sorry about the background noise. You know, I'm on campus with my colleagues, so understand me for that. So there is a set of mechanism for managing resources to attain certain goals, or any arrangement by which resources or productive resources are owned and controlled to produce goods and services. So that arrangement that is being done in a country or in a society, whichever way it goes to, we call it economic system. So recapping is it's an arrangement specifying how production, distribution, and consumption are managed in a country or a society. So we can decide to make sure that all the management of the resources, how to produce, distribute, and consume whatever to consume, should be managed by individuals, or should be managed by the government, or should be managed by both. So in this case, um, we are trying hard to see that in the case of capitalism, it means you are going to give the resource, you are going to see who the resources are going to be in the hands of, all right? But let's keep in mind that in answering anything pertaining to um, economic system, whether capitalist, socialist, or um, mixed economy, these criteria I said in the previous class should be considered. So we shouldn't forget. So I said the first criteria is for you to know who owns the resources, right, in the economy or in the society or in the country in which you are. You also have to know the methods of decision making. How are the decisions made and by who is it made, right? And then you also want to focus and know the motivation for production. That is it for the profits making or for the general welfare. So you see that in each of these economic systems you're going to treat, you are going to tackle these three criteria, which is the ownership of resources, method of decision making, and then motivation for production, whether it be profits or um, the welfare of the people. So I'm recapping that we talked about capitalist economic systems. We have the economic system. We have three basic economic systems. We have capitalist economic system, which is also known as the free market economy. If I'm going fast, please let me know in the comment section. And if you are just joining us, please kindly give us a thumbs up for us to know that you are active in class. So we have the capitalist economic system, also known as the free market economy. We have the socialists, also known as centrally planned, and then the other type which I want you to go and find out yourself. Then we also have the mixed economy. So for the purposes of today's class, right, we are going to concentrate on the capitalist economic system. Remember the last time we talked about the functions of every economic system. So I observed that the last class, I see part of the class was cut off. I'm sure it's network issues again. So please forgive me if it is we are having network issues in some of the class. But so today I decided to do it rather on the laptop to see whether it will be better. But the phone is kind of giving us a little problem. So let's see. We want to see what capitalist economic system is, right. So has been one of the economic system that I earlier mentioned. It's an arrangement to know how production, distribution, and consumption are done. In this case, we take the price mechanism, which is also known as the capitalist economic system, also known as the price system or the free market economy. So those are the various names I have mentioned as price mechanism, which is another name for the capitalist economic system, also known as the capitalism or the price system. We are saying that this economic system is a type of economic system in which almost all the productive resources. I will explain why I said almost, right? Almost all the productive resources are owned and controlled by private individuals to produce goods and services. So we know that um, part of the criteria we talked about, right? The three criteria was for you to know who owns the resources, and then we also want to know what is how are decision made, and we also want to know the motive for production, be it that profit or the welfare of the people. So in this situation, we are saying that the capitalist economic system, the resources, almost all, emphasis on the almost all productive resources are owned and controlled by private individuals, not only one person. Individuals, I mean many people. So private individuals. So the productive resources are in the hands of the private individual. Almost all of them are in the hands of the private individuals. And then also we also have we want to know about who makes decisions. So in that economic system, we are saying that the decisions as to what, how, and why to produce and how to distribute are taken by the private individuals, right? Private individual normally they because their focus is on which is their motive for production is going to be on profits. They deal with the price mechanism, which says that you demand and you supply. Because if no one demands and they supply, they're not going to get their profit. So because their motive, which is the third criteria we're trying to answer, their motive is profit making. So obviously you see that the decisions as to what to produce, where to produce, for whom to produce, etc., are taken by when people demand and supply. So they are taken by private individuals. So to recap, almost all productive resources are owned and controlled by private individuals. So the decisions that are taken, right, which is the second criteria, are made by private individuals as to what to produce, how to produce, etc. And then the motive for production is what profits. So once again, apologizing for the background noise. I have some colleagues visiting around today, so um, can't control that one. So now let's see. Um, in treating capitalist economic system, we also have what we call pure capitalism. Pure capitalism, which is the same as the capitalist economy, but this is a pure one. In a pure one, even though the other one, capitalist economic system, is we are saying almost all productive resources are owned and controlled by private individuals. In this situation, we we are saying that the greater percentage, which is pure capitalism, means that the greater percentage of productive resources are owned and controlled by private individuals. So greater percentage meaning that it is pure capitalism. And the reason why we are not saying all the resources are owned and controlled by private individuals is that um, there are essential things that the government is supposed to work in. For instance, let's see things like assuming you are allowing the security that the police, we allow the police to be owned by the private individuals, allow all the educational sectors to be owned by private individuals, the judiciary owned by the private, that hospitals or any health facility owned by the private individual. I'm not sure that country can survive because it's going to be like we demand, we supply, like cash and carry. You can't pay, the don't supply, and that is not going to be a normal country to live in. So for that reason, we are saying almost all, which means that we have a minimal activeness of the government in it. Right. Minimal aspect means that at least we can have the police in the country, even though people do not pay for the police, because if the police are going to be handled based on profit making, you want to give the police because you want to make profit out of it. that is going to be a serious problem in a country. So you have like the police or the security system, not only the police, the soldiers, the army, and all that stuff that every country needs to be safe must be handled by the government, at least on free basis or for the sake of the welfare of the people. So you see that though we said capitalist economic system, almost all resources are owned and controlled by the government, you still see that the some things are owned and controlled by the government. And those little things are what is the aspect we have left and said almost all, which means that those little things are owned and controlled by the government. So, for instance, if you have all, we leave all the educational sector in the hands of the private individual. It means every school you see in the country, if we live in my country, every school you see in the country is going to be for private individuals. And you know how private education costs as compared to where the government should be able to supply that one. So, if you want to talk about private um, ownership of education totally, the country is going to be in chaos. So we are going to have things like having education, some part of the education be owned by the government, right? So that's an aspect you see the government also acting. Also in health, you also see the government also acting in health, right? So you see some hospitals that belong to the government. At least in that one, they are relatively cheaper than going to private hospitals. So for that reason, we are saying though it is capitalist economic system, some of the resources must be owned by the government for the sake of these issues. And let's see, for instance, the judiciary, right? If you're having the judiciary being owned by private individual, it means you pay and then you get justice, which is not going to be possible. So you have those ones being owned by the government, even though it's a capitalist economic system. Also, let's see some of the countries that practice capitalist economic system, and I want you to search out by yourself what we mean by the capitalist economic system, right? Like countries that practice capitalist economic system. So try and search on some of the countries that practice capitalist economic system. Okay. So some of the countries that practice capitalist economic systems are, for instance, you can see, let's go with it, you find it's Hong Kong, Singapore, New Zealand, Switzerland, Australia, the United States of America. That one is sometimes the people. Okay, so it's capitalist economic system anyway. Mauritius, those who know that country, and then Georgia, etc., etc. So you can search for more countries that practice that kind of economic system, and then you know. So at this point, I want to reiterate that though it's a capitalist economic system where almost all resources are owned by the private individual, we must have some of the things being owned by the government. And some of the things that being owned by the government are what? The judiciary, some health facilities, then the security system, and then other things that we think that the government must be the one to handle so that everybody will benefit whether you can afford it or not. So let's see some of the advantages of capitalist economic system. One of the advantages is that it does not require any administrative expenses. So um, unlike if we will be treating in the social economic system, you will see that the um, you before you have any job done, right? You are going to be having how do you call this? The members of parliament or senators and all those people to pay them to the DC, MMC before anything should be practiced. By this economic system, we will not have such thing because the resources are in the hands of the private individual. When they want something, they just do it directly without having to worry about um, all these administrative expenses, right? Also, we also want to think about an advantage like you because it's individuals, their main focus is main profits. They are going to have production of new consumables. The more innovative people become, you see that people start creating so many things, right? So you have people being very creative. because they're very creative, they make available so many new consumer goods for us to consume. So for instance, if you those like we have people producing gari, this time they say they call it they have kibo gari, and people were mentioning other forms of um goods that they have been created. So once those goods are created, consumers are going to get new goods to do what? They are going to get new goods to consume, right? And then we also said that it promotes consumer sovereignty. Okay, so what it means is that because the private individuals always want to have make profits, right? What they will do is that they are going to make sure that um, they treat the consumer right. When the consumer is well treated, right, they'll always come back. And the more you have consumers coming back to you to purchase your goods, the more profits you make. So the consumers in this situation are always right. And then you see that the consumers reign supreme. They are like the kings in this economy, right? Also, let's some the other advantage you can see is that it brings about efficient means of distributing goods. You know the private sector, right? No one wants to invest their money to make sure to waste it. So what they will do is that they will make sure that whatever money they are investing, right, they they don't let any of them go to waste. So wherever this thing resources are needed is where they'll make sure it reaches. So if they are distributing goods, they make sure they distribute the goods without causing any wastage or minimal wastage, because the more waste they waste your resources, the lesser profit you're going to make. So that is one also advantage, right? And the another advantage too is that it leads to hard work, innovations and inventions. Let's bear in mind that the private individual, their main focus is to do what? Is to make profit. And once their main focus is to make profit, it means that whatever they are trying to do, they want to make sure that they keep their their resources well, make good use of them, and then at the end they are able to work hard, because if you don't work hard you don't make a profit. So they you see people working very hard, become very innovative. As I said, that by being innovative they're able to produce new goods. And then you also see that um they invent new goods, right? So people work hard, they're able to innovate so many things, and they're able to invent so many. So in this economy, it promotes inventions. So you see new types of use coming up every time, right? And that kind of benefit the consumers. You're not stuck to one old way of consuming things. So these are some of the advantages that we can see for the um, capitalist economic system. Now let's see some of the disadvantages, right? No matter how good something is, probably they definitely will have a disadvantage. One of the advantages we can talk about is that it worsens income inequality. What it means is that the rich become more richer and the poor become poorer. So if you assume in the education sector, and then most of them is in the hands of the private individual, it means going to be in cash and carry basis. You're able to afford education, good education, you pay for it. If you can't afford, it means you stay home, or you go to the other ones that probably the few ones that the government has done that may not have quality education. So you see the rich accessing better education and becoming more rich and getting better opportunities. You see that if it's health wise, once you can afford, you get a better health, because most of the resources are in the hands of what? Private individuals. So you get better health, whilst the poor are still struggling. So this economy, no matter how good it is, it makes the poor suffer more and the rich enjoy more, which no one probably will want. Right. Aside that, too, we can have um, economic insecurity. If it was the government owning things, if you get a job and the job belongs to the government, you have this security that you're going to have a job lasting for a long time. But if, for instance, it's a job and it's a private thing, at any time you can lose your job, right? And at that point, they don't have stable, like, they determine what prices to sell their goods. Remember, they are setting their prices according to the demand and the supply. So they can be there and decide to change their price at any time. So things are not just secure in that economy. After all, you can have someone producing something that is essential for everyone and they're all consuming. All of a sudden, the person decides that I'm withdrawing my capital from that production. I'm going to do something with my money. Then people suffer in that economy. So that economy is not really secured, right? Also, one of the disadvantages is that we have low production of public goods. The public goods are like, for instance, roads, right? You can get like bridges, you can get hospitals, other stuff. If the private person will not make profit in something, they will not produce it. Remember, the main aim in this economic system is to make profit. So once they know they are not making profits, forget about it. They're not going to do it. So I don't see why someone will use their money to go and construct a road for people to pass on it for free. So you see, so such bills will be left not produced. So that is one disadvantage of it. And also, another disadvantage is that it promotes private benefits rather than social benefits. Let's keep in mind that, as I keep repeating, that their main focus is profit. So they are not producing things because they want everybody to have a good wealth, everybody should enjoy. They are producing because they want to make profit. So whether it benefits people or not, as long as they are making profits, they are producing it, especially if it is not illegal. So you see that once it's benefiting the owner is making as much profit as they can. They do not care about how other people feel. As long as they make profits, they keep producing those things the way they produce it. And one thing also that is not good about this capitalist economic system is that it may lead to exploitation of consumers, right? So you see that the consumers, if you don't have a choice, especially if that particular good that they want to consume is produced by the particular producer, and that person is a private person, the only one producing it, no matter the price, you don't have a choice than to consume it unless the government comes in to help. The government doesn't come in to help. It means that if you need those things and you cannot afford it, then forget it. As a poor person, you will not enjoy. So if you don't have a choice, what you have to do is that you have to struggle hard to get those same goods that you need. So they exploit consumers because they don't have a choice. That is what they can afford to consume. Sorry. So these are some of the disadvantages, though there are many more. Right at this point, if you know you're not subscribed, please make sure you subscribe, okay? And then if you don't like our video, please like and share. Aside that, let's do a summary of what we have done so far. We have seen that in the current economic system, right, their main focus is that they want to maximize profits, right? And we also know that the private individuals or firms are those who own the productive resources. So private individuals are those who own the productive resources. And then we have the freedom of individual initiative. People can think, innovate, be creative, and produce more new goods, right? And we also saw that decisions are taken by private individuals. So decisions as to what to produce, how do we produce, where do we produce, for whom do we produce. Any decisions that pertain to production in the economy, most of them are taken by the private individuals. And also, we also can see that um, for them to know what to produce, they depend on demand and supply. When people demand, they supply. If you don't demand, you don't supply. So this is the little thing you can say about the capitalist economic system. These are being detailed than the other one we did previously. So if you have any question pertaining this, let me know in the comment section. If you have not subscribed, please kindly subscribe. That's the benefit I can get for you. So please subscribe. And if you're not like, please kindly like our video and then you share with your friends who have not watched yet. So if you also want the slides that I've done on this, right? Let me know in the comment section if you want to have a slides that I've done on this. Um, I mean, the slides I use in presenting this. I cannot show it because I want to show it. Sometimes it interferes with the network. You let me know in the comment section and I'll make it available for you. So if you have any questions, you may ask, then I will answer. But if not, then we can bring today's class to a close. But though it's a class I've pretty much to a close, if you have any questions, still put it there and then I will answer it for you. So sorry for the earlier notice I gave. It's kind of I had a problem with the time. So so we meet God willing next week the same time, right? Which is 1:30 GMT on Thursday. Stay safe and then if you have a question, let me know. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Okay. So until then, we'll see you in the next class. Okay. Bye for now.